Hi, I'm Hallie, and my family and we went on a road trip across the country from Washington State to Florida and back. And we did it in our Model Y Tesla. So this is a new car for us, and the journey was very different than doing it across the country in a gas car, which we'd done previously with our dogs and our one kid. Our kids are 3 years old and 3 months old, and the journey there took about 3 days. We stopped once in the middle of the drive, and the way back took about 4 days, and we did 3 overnights that time. So we did do 2 different orientations, if you will. So I'm going to share with you guys some tips today about how you can make driving in your Tesla with kids or any aspect of that across the country easier for you. So step 1, you need to optimize and have a plan for your stops. With the Tesla, it's a completely different mentality. I have my kiddo with me, by the way, she's sleeping. But with the Tesla, you are in a really different mindset. You need to realize that it's going to tell you when to stop on your journey. It'll tell you your overall traveling plan, and then it'll tell you each time you need to stop. So these stops are at a distance to where your miles are going to change and come down. So you're going to need to stop within that window. A lot of times it'll suggest a stop and people think you have to go there, but one of the best tips you can do is to click on the icon in the bottom right hand side of the screen on the navigation system with the chargers and select the superchargers, and that way you can see where the stops are on your line of your route. So that way you can see which ones have restaurants, which ones are at hotels, which ones are at shopping centers, because that was something we realized there's 2 main areas for stops. It's either shopping centers or hotels. And if you want to stop for the night, that's a really good idea to stop at one with a hotel so that you can optimize your stopping and not have to make multiple stops, especially with kids. And the shopping center ones are not the best idea late at night. That was something we had to learn the hard way. So these ones might be convenient during the day when you're looking for food or when you want to just get out of the car and do something quickly. These stops are often going to be a little bit more than you think they're going to be, because the estimate will tell you 15 minutes, 30 minutes, but it's probably going to be about 10 minutes more than that, because you want to arrive within 20% of your battery if you can to your next destination, and that'll show you that once you have your full route plugged in on the navigation and you're charging, it will show you an estimate of what your battery will be upon arrival at the next stop. So second tip is snacks. A lot of these stops, there are not restaurants right in that area. Some have them, often like a McDonald's or a Starbucks, but most of them are going to be, if you're lucky, a drive-through, and they might not be open at the hours you're traveling if it's a big trip. So we packed a cooler. We had our own milk in there for coffees because we knew we could stop and get coffees at these hotels or at these stops, but we wanted for the kids to have milk. And then we also had snacks like apples, we had carrots, we had cherry tomatoes was a good one. We had beef jerky, things that are healthier and easy to grab and could substitute a meal if you wanted to do that. The next tip is nap and trade. So we really pushed through. We did a very hard 3-day trip on the way there. Probably would not do that again. But the best thing we did was nap when the other person was driving. So it's kind of nice. You can lay the seat down, and especially if you don't have kids in the back, you can put those seats down and even rest more so. So it really paid off to have naps in between. The driving would be about an 1.5 to 3 hour stints in between to get to the chargers. So that was kind of perfect for everybody to have a little nap or to just be able to have a break from driving, and then to take turns really could help you rest. The next tip is use your phone as a supplemental tool. So everybody knows once you get the Tesla, your phone is also a key to the car. So this is how you're going to want to find what's at the next stop. If you're planning to get food, like you can see where you'll arrive estimated at a destination for meal times, especially if you have kids, this is really important, or if you're just hungry. Use your phone to find out what restaurants are there. Your phone can be hooked up to the car, so a lot of times we would call when we were an estimated 20 minutes out to these restaurants, check the menus online, order our food, so that when we were able to pull into the stop for charging, we would stop and pick up our food, bring it to the charger, and all honestly, we would have a picnic kind of tailgate situation. On the way there, we even got the tailgate chairs, but that was a little much and unnecessary, so we just would often throw out a blanket, let the kids run around a little bit, and eat our meal if that was what we were planning to do. So it did optimize the stops. It did help kill the time, 45 minutes or however long it was, and it also got everybody out of the car, so we felt refreshed to go on the next leg. Another great Tesla tool, and being in Florida, this was really helpful as we have a black one, was to do the AC before you get in the car. So wherever you are, if you're at a restaurant and you're about to go get in the car, turn the AC on your phone for the car before you go get in. And that way it'll really avoid those seat burns and just having to sit in hot heat. I think this is the same thing to where you can turn the climate on in colder climates as well, and that way you can heat the car up if it's really cold outside too. And I think that helps too when there's snow, and you can defrost the windshield ahead of time without really having to go out to the car. So whatever it is, pre-climate, it's a great tool to use. Make sure you and your family have a plan, so you know that when we're going to a stop, this is what we do. We have a toddler, so we have to carry the potty around, and also we know he needs to go to the bathroom every time we stop. So immediately everybody knows bathroom first, we have to feed the baby in our situation, and then we get snacks, we sit down, everybody gets ready, and then we'll have our meal or do whatever our plan is while we're charging. And we make sure to plug the car in immediately upon arrival to the stop. We want to just maximize the amount of time it can charge, and that really helps with getting as much as we can before we leave. Another good tip is with the car, there's a lot of hidden storage, and there's the front trunk, which is really helpful, but we would try to pack the car based on need. So whatever we put in the car first was what we didn't need until the end of the trip, maybe even getting to our destination. And then we would put what we needed immediately, what we needed on the drive. We had like a dirty clothes basket that was really helpful, especially with the kiddos. And we would have 2 bags. So one bag was clothes that we didn't need when we were traveling, but we needed for the trip itself. And then the other bag was clothes we would all need immediately. So that way you don't have to take all your suitcases, all your bags out. You can just take the one go bag that has all of the goodies in it and use that up. And you know that you can pre-plan that, you know what you need. You can throw a few extra pairs of clothes or whatever you need in there, but you don't need everything, and you don't have to sort through everything every time you stop at a hotel or a charging stop. So every stop we would kind of do a reset. So that would mean our toddler, we would have him put away all of his toys at the charging stop in his backpack, which is good practice for responsibility and just keeping things tidy. And that way, when you go on to the next leg of the driving, he could get out all of his toys again and play and do everything, but he knew that he had to put them away and we would get it reset. And this also avoids huge messes. We would collect trash at each stop. We would kind of wipe things down if there was a spill. We would put everything back in the back the way we needed to. This kind of stuff made it really helpful. One of the tools that we brought with us, I'll call it a tool, was a baby bouncer seat. the seat that's super lightweight. And this thing was great because we would put it we had it in the back of the car. Like I said, it was packed by need, so it was very close up when we would open the trunk. And we would bring this out and set it at the stop if we were all sitting outside so that the baby could get some fresh air and she didn't have to sit in her seat while we were stopped. And this tool was great too because we used it on our trip at various locations, but it also gave us a place to put the baby down that wasn't the car seat because obviously she had been in the car seat a long time, so she was over that. But it was a great tool and we definitely would bring that again. Another note would be to think about distributions when doing a long cross-country trip. When I was doing my research to see how people traveled across the country, it was often, without kids even, 6-hour days for a week long. We were on less available time when we were traveling, and our kids are well accustomed to traveling and we're well accustomed to driving long distances. So I'd say the one overnight stay in the middle at a hotel, second overnight was a bit ambitious. It did help us because the kids would sleep in the car at night, and as long as we could keep sleeping and napping in between the legs, it really was the easiest option at the time. When we did the way back and we stayed in the hotels, everyone was able to sleep, which was nice, but it did kind of throw off and there was just constant transition and changes, which if you have kids, you know is not the easiest. So there's benefits and there's downsides to each one. Some other options are, you could do equal distributions. On the way back, we did one really long day, the next was less, the next was less, the next was a half day. So I guess you would call it a day crescendo type thing. And I know that you could probably do the opposite, but for us, the day crescendo idea was really great because you were excited to get home the first day, the second 2 days were pretty rough, and then the last day you were excited again. But your excitement was waning through the whole journey, and the time that you would drive each day matched that. So the way there, you were really excited to get there. We could do some long days, but you need to adjust based on what's best for your family. For us, I would probably do the same thing again. I might shift the first 2 days or something based on the places. We had good stays at certain hotels, but the drives were very long the first few days. So I'd maybe even add another day on and that way shorten each of the trips. But overall, it was great. Just traveling in a Tesla is such a different mentality. The charging isn't just a quick 10-minute gas stop, it's a stop. You're stopping for longer than you think you would, but at the same time with kids, it is a different thing, or with dogs, I've heard. You will need to be well rehearsed in what you're going to do and have a plan for your stop, otherwise you'll be there for quite some time. But it is, if you can execute it well, it's a great way to travel because you're going to have to get out of the car every 2 hours with your kids no matter what. So if you have a Tesla, it's forcing you to do that already, and it's good for you to get out and walk around a bit. It does make it so you can do longer trips because you do get that recovery time in between, and I think that really helped us. But we'll see how it works out in the future. So far, it was a great choice. With kids, I was hesitant. We have the third row, which is nice, and we could configure the seats to make it kind of a van style. So there's benefits to everything so far with the new car. But if you're going across the country, I hope these tips helped you. And if you would like any more detail on any aspects of the charging or how stops work or anything, let me know. So far, I just wanted to share this tidbit of information because this was a learning experience for myself and my family, and I do recommend it, especially as people start to get on the road this summer. So everybody have a good one. Bye.